Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Scott's Shaves. So what this is going to be a collab video. This is going to be a collab video between me and Subie, or Josh at Subie Shaves, okay? And this is a collab video where we're going to be sharing a razor. The guy made it out here, it's a great journey, and we're going to be sharing a razor that's on top of his list. This is one I had to dig a little deep to pull out of my collection, but it's a gem single edge razor, Demansky. This is wait a second. This is an open comb. This is one of the very first Demansky's ever made, okay? This is a clam type shell here. And I do have a gem PTFE, brand new. PTFE means Teflon coated gem blade that we're going to be putting in this, okay? This does say Demansky blades only. And I actually do have some new old stock Demansky blades. But the thing about it is, I ain't going to be using those things, because I can tell you right now that anytime I have tried a new old stock blade, it ain't turned out good. So you can see that it fits right in there. There's these little dots in there, and the blade just flips down, and it's ready to rock and roll. We're going to be pairing that today with some Egyptus Home City Hub, some soap company here. This is new to me. This is a soap that I have never used. This is a soap that was given to me. Okay, so I'm going to be upfront with you. First off, I'm a little scared of using this razor, and for two reasons. Gems don't like me. Every time that I have tried to use a gem razor, boy, it just ain't ended well. It was funny. I was talking with someone yesterday, and I guess one of the things that's an often brought up question is, how do I build my lather? So what I do is I get a nice hot bit of water going, I wet my brush out, and then I wring it out, but it's still somewhat wet. And then I go to my soap container and work it like this, really good to load my brush. And as you can see, my brush is coated really good. And when I do, is if you want to be a face lather, obviously you're going to go and get your face nice and wet. I use a candy dish that I had picked up from an estate sale. And what I do is I add a little bit of water to it like that. I swish it around to get some water in it. And then I only leave a couple drops of water in it at the bottom there. Because if you leave too much, you won't build a good lather. Because the brush was wet and got some on it already. And if you're doing the lather work in the bowl and you're seeing that you're not really building any lather, well, then chances are you need a little bit more water. But as you can see here, I have a very good lather built up. So there'll be more water added that you can continue to work as you get your face wet and you go to shave and stuff along those lines, okay? I don't know a whole lot of back history about this Demansky. This is an original handle for this. This has this insert thing that goes in here like this. I'm not entirely for sure what that's all about. I don't know enough about these things to even have a clue. So I'm going to put it back in there where it's supposed to go. Make sure this is nice and tight. This was made in Gem Cutlery Company, New York City, New York, USA, okay? From my understanding, this thing is from the early 1900s, okay? Somewhere around the same time as the single rings and stuff. So let me get my face all wetted up here. This is supposed to be the best shaving gem. I've used a gem Micromatic, and I can tell you that I've used a 1912 Gem Junior Micromatic, a clog-proof Micromatic, open and closed comb Micromatics. And I'll tell you, gems have never been nice to me. So, according to my buddy, Josh Perkins, he's heard that this thing is supposed to be good. So, I didn't do the shave profile and the smell of this soap. But what does it smell like? To be honest with you, it's got a really just nice smell. It's kind of a natural. It kind of smells, let's see, cocoa butter, pig tallow, avocado, and goat milk. It's pretty mild scent. I mean, to be honest, I don't, it's got like just a faint hint of like vanilla to it a little bit, and stuff. And it's got a good lather. It's a nice thick lather. I think it's going to be pretty slick. But let's get the razor warmed up and let's get a go here. And one thing to note about these, okay, is you don't hold them, the angle on these is a lot different. It's a lot steeper of an angle than that of a double edge, okay? So you can hear the feedback on that, and you can see the angle that I'm using there on that. I hate to say it, but I am not a single edge guy by any stretch of the imagination. Never have been. But dude and dudettes, wow, this razor is incredibly mild. Incredibly. So one thing I can note with this is this has a very small profile head compared to that of a Micromatic. And looking at the combs in comparison to the blade gap is very minor, where it is very big in some of the other mic gems, and that blade gap being very minor is a very, very nice little gap there. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. See if my thing will focus here. You see the ridge here, there's a nice subtle ridge right into that little blade gap. And well, of course I cut myself, but when don't I cut myself? This thing is ridiculously smooth. Huh. I would never say that a gem has been a smooth razor. I have tried G-bars, I have tried Micromatics, I have tried the 1912s and the junior gems and the whole 9 yards. And until this one, I have never had a successful shave where I have enjoyed it. Man, Subie, you're gonna be glad that this is the razor that we're doing a collab on. So I'm gonna tell you, the big head on this does make it a little troublesome under my big fat nose here. So I'm trying to use just the corner of the blades there. But dang, that is crazy. So let me get my face cleaned off. Steal my wife's washcloth, don't tell her. Alright, let's get my face cleaned off here. Let me feel what it feels like after first pass in comparison, because this is one thing, you guys saw me blind shave, so I'm very good at feeling. And that is no different, at least on the first pass, than any double edge that I have used. I will say that there's some double edges that have been closer, but for a first pass with the grain, that is a very good start. All right, can we get a BBS shave from this thing in 2 passes? That's the golden question now. I'll tell you what, sure as hell gonna try. So I didn't get as close as a shave as I should have with the Rex, but I'll tell you what, oh man, Josh. I could see why you have been so giddy to try this out. You know, this is actually soap that was given to me again by a friend, just like all my other soaps, other than the Fruit Loops, okay? I did purchase that Fruit Loops from Tracy to give away to you guys. She was really happy to have it featured. If you haven't yet, Trace of the Past Soaps, look her up on Facebook. You know, I should put a link to her Facebook page on here. Alright, so against the grain. Just as smooth so far. Very steep angle. It rides flat to the skin, as you can see there. It has a little blade feedback, but I'll tell you the blade feedback is not the sign of aggression where it typically is. Typically you have had a loud feedback, you're going to have an aggressive razor, right? Well, I'm going to tell you, I just think that the way the blade is on this thing with the open combs, this kind of lends itself to being a louder razor. It's very much like if you were to take I don't have one in here, but if you were to take a comb, you know how you run your fingers down the bristles? Yeah, something like that. So what's going on in the world these days? Glad to hear about the Olympics. I've been watching the Olympic trials almost every night on the regular for the US. I'm excited about the Olympics. I rather enjoy watching them, and my kid gets a kick out of it. You know, something I guess I haven't shared. She's 5. She started gymnastics it's been about 4 months ago now. 3 to 4 months ago. And she tried out for a competitive team, and she made it. Not too bad for something someone's only been at for a few months, right? That little girl, I don't know how many of you are parents or not. But you know, she's been a big part of my life. Ever since she was born. She was unexpected, but doesn't mean you love them any less. And I wouldn't trade her for the world. But she's just, watching her grow up is just a treat. All the time, learning new stuff, and so on and so forth, you know. I don't remember exactly how the saying goes. It's something like, you know, she's the apple of my eye or whatever it is, but her and my wife mean the world to me, to be honest with you. I'd do anything and everything for my girls. Wouldn't be here where I am today without them, you know. And one thing that I've often been a big proponent of, even before I was a parent, you know, people always say, oh, you know, I've heard this story a million times of how when kids came along, they ruined my life. I don't get to do everything I got to do, and blah, 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 you know. I found it the complete opposite. Kids don't ruin your life. Kids make your life better. Sure, they change your life, but they change your life for the better, you know. There's so many people out there who'd rather be parents who can't or struggle to be parents, or they have to find other methods of being a parent, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. Adoption, or any of that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Fostering kids or not, you know. Kids are great. My daughter has changed my life for the better in leaps and bounds. And just fantastic. And you know, and another thing I would say that has brought a lot of light to my life as of late is the shaving community, to be honest with you. You know, there is people out there, there's always people, no matter where you go, they're going to try to take advantage of the situation, so to speak. You know, like that guy a couple weeks ago that was trying to get free razors out of people and hosing people and, you know, probably selling them, is my guess, for profit, because he's taking advantage of people's generosity, so to speak. So now that my shave is done here, sorry about the rambling about kids and whatever else, but to all the parents out there, I applaud you. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's hard. I get it. I'm a parent. But you love your kids nonetheless, right? And then we all have our other kids. I'll tell you what, not a bad little girl. Surprised as crap by this razor. So I didn't get a BBS from it, but I only did a 2-pass. I didn't, okay, I caught myself here, but that's because I'm an idiot. What else is new, right? But this is a fantastic razor. Unbelievably smooth. Unbelievably smooth. But again, my hat's off to parents. And here we go. Here's to the next part of this video. Josh, are you ready, buddy? Here it comes.